Hey there, this is Therese Skelly, and I am so excited that you are going to be listening to an episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. Do you like those two words? Fiercely Brilliant. My hypothesis is that you are here for a reason. We all are. Our souls have led us on journeys that have very often taken some twists and turns, and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes there's struggle and there's loss and there's challenge, and in the middle of that, there's always a way out. And it's those times that often lead us into our great life and work. So you're going to hear stories in these episodes of myself and other beautiful people that share the journey. They share how they got to the place where they're standing, working in their brilliance, and being the powerful leaders that they are. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode. This is Therese Skelly in another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. And oh, my guest is so yummy today. I'm really thrilled to introduce you to Mariangela Parodi. Mariangela, number one, tell us where you are, because I've never had a guest here from
Tasmania. So
Tasmania.
I'm the little island underneath the big island of Australia.
Do you know anybody in Tasmania? That is amazing. And I have known Mariangela for
close to the Antarctic. Yeah.
Wow. For all you geography nerds, there you go. Place it, right? So I've known Mariangela for a few years, and her work is so potent, so powerful. I'm inspired by her work, and her story is going to inspire you. So as I always start, I would like to hear, love, what you do today and what you love about it.
I help healers and intuitive business owners to break through their barriers, to let go of their guilt and frustration so they can really step into their full gifts and, be magnificent, be brilliant, and share that with others so that they're making a difference to the world. Because right now we are really needed, all these healers, everything that's happening, we are meant to be standing up and sharing and bringing a change to the world and the environment. That's my biggest calling right now, is to help these healers do their thing and bring change to the land.
Woof. All right, healers out there, those of you who are change agents, listen up, right? This is for you. And that's why I had Mariangela here, because it's our time, right? We're born for all this time. All right. I know this was not a straight journey. You didn't get all the support in the world. You didn't have like just a little escalator, like, oh, here I am. I'm here. I know you've had some really interesting challenges in your history. So why don't you start? Because your story is so beautiful and sadly happens to other people as well. So we want to highlight some things in your story. So why don't you just get started?
Of course. So I was born in Chile, and my family left because of the political problems and went to Australia, Sydney. So I grew up in a very isolated community of my parents and my brother and my grandfather. So we didn't have people around us. So I was conditioned to always follow the rules and listen to my father, because he was Italian and had very strong opinions. And so around 16, I've realized at school, what do I want to do? We were told, you've got to decide, you've got to plan for the future, you've got to make a decision, you've got to get a degree, you've got to get a job. So choosing those subjects for what career I would go into, I wasn't really sure, but I decided, I connected with this lady, and she was a naturopath, and I thought, oh, everything I've wanted, everything I've thought about, because I used to have really bad acne. I didn't know I was sensitive to food, so I was searching for medicinal things, garlic. I cover my face with garlic. I took garlic oil, and I thought, oh no, this feels great. I want to help people with plants and herbs and nutrients, but I was not allowed.
So you knew at 16 what your path was, or what your soul was calling you to do, right?
I could fit, my body just went, yes, this is it. This is what you need to do. Yeah. My dad said, no, you can't do that. At that time, it was a private college. He wouldn't have had the money. He was struggling to support us. And I found like the closest thing was to study biology and give up my dream. I was really resentful of my father. How could he do this? But I was the good girl. I followed the rules, but deeper, I pushed it down. This is what I want to do, but I resented him for it. And so I liked biology. I had a great biology teacher, so I decided to follow biology and biomedical science. So I did a degree in that and studied cellular and biomedical science. So I went into pathology, looking at cells, diagnosing cancers, especially breast cancer or cervical cancers in women. So for 10 years, I worked in that industry. Wow. And because I was on the microscope and looking at these cells day in, day out, I had a very difficult manager as well. But I was the good girl. I followed the rules.
That's
I
right.
did what I needed to do. And then my arm started to play up. It started to get pain, RSI, and because it wasn't set up properly. And so I had physio. I recovered after 6 weeks. So it was good. And then a year later, we got a new microscope.
So your body started, even though the good girl is being compliant, the body's like, oh, hell no. So now you get the arm pain. Like there were signs, right? That you were out of alignment. Yeah. Okay, keep going. Yes.
So we got new microscopes and my arms started to be in pain. And so did all these other women. There were like maybe 10 women in this department. 5 other women got the same problem. And I kept looking at these women thinking they're much older than me, because I was coming up. I was coming up to being 30 at this stage, and all these women had a dream. They wanted to do something else, but they just sat at the microscope and just did their work. And I thought, I can't be like this. I can't, this could be my future, sitting there, hating it.
Yes.
And my body didn't heal. My arm didn't heal. I had physio, I had acupuncture. I saw a pain psychologist, had all of that. And then I realized, I've had this understanding now, in astrology terms, there's a time called the Saturn return, and it comes to us around 30, the midlife crisis.
Yes.
And for me, it was the pain. My body was saying, you got to get out.
Yeah.
This isn't for you. Yeah. This isn't what you're meant to be doing. And the crisis was, if I didn't get out, my body would...
It was talking to you.
I couldn't lift it. I couldn't wash my hair. I couldn't hang out the washing. I couldn't do anything. I had it in a sling because the weight of my arm was too much.
That's severe.
Yeah, severe. And so at that time I thought, what do I really want to do? And it came to me again, naturopathy. You've got to study naturopathy. So I was getting guidance, but I was ignoring it. The clarity was coming in. You got to get out. This will get worse if you don't get out. But I was the good girl. I'll follow through. But it kept getting worse. And I was in tears. I was in pain. I couldn't sleep. Even this scrambling, there's an electrical impulse you can put on your arms to just scramble the pain, the TENS machine. That didn't work either. So I took the plunge and I left. I was pregnant at that time, and I thought, no, I'm going to leave. I can't do this anymore, because I could see how sick everybody was. And that could be my future. And it was a scary thing to leave and not have an income.
Yes.
And decide I need to study, even though my arm, I don't know how my arm will be with writing assignments or typing on the computer. But the minute I stepped away, it was like, relax. The stress was gone.
What did your arm do?
It recovered. Ta-da!
Oh my God.
It took a while, but it recovered. It recovered. And I had other treatments, of course, and then I could see why that wouldn't heal. I could see why this needed to happen, this crisis, this dark night of the soul, where I was in the depths of suffering and I had no support, and I had all these judgment, these eyes at me at work, you're doing the wrong thing, you must be lying, you're making this up. So all of that judgment, it wasn't just me, anyone that had this and was on workers' compensation had the same sort of judgment. And it was a really hard path to just decide, I've got to get out of this system, because it's what else would happen? That this was superficial, but you knew, right? I knew.
Because a lot of people don't know, right? And they're like, oh, it's weird, my back is out. Oh, and now, So sounds like, and now then you went through naturopathy school, and so just kind of grow us up, and then we're going to go back. So finish the journey, and we're going to go back.
So through naturopathy, I was still interested in healing. I was doing meditating, and I had my first son, and he was allergic to everything. everything. By the age of 12 months, he could only eat rice and pears. And so I had stopped eating a lot of the foods he was allergic to when I was breastfeeding. And it was horrific, the eczema that he went through, the years of crying. He was so unsettled. And I tried even to give him herbs. I tried to give him homeopathy and nutrients, and he reacted to everything. So I had to just stop and just check in. How can I help this boy? Where is it coming from? And because of my biomedical science, I was able to sort of break it down systematically to, okay, I've tried this. Where is the origin? So I realized a lot of stress I was carrying in the pregnancy while I was working at pathology. I had to clear that. I was carrying it. He took it on. The stuff that happened to my parents leaving Chile. My dad had left Italy as well because of Mussolini. So I had a lot of
two
struggle
generations.
about power over my family. So I had to, I worked intuitively clearing those and past lives that had affected him. So then I could see his skin started to clear up. He started to sleep. So even though I've got my biomedical knowledge, I've got this naturopathy background, it was the healing that made the biggest difference. And so because of that, I started to attract, when I started to work in naturopathy, other children with problems, similar issues. So I realized kids or us that are sensitive to foods also have these intuitive abilities, healing abilities, and they come together. So often we can judge, why am I sensitive? There's a sensitivity there for a reason, because we can pick up on so many things. And so now I've, developed this amazing business especially over the last 5 years, making 6 figures, helping others, teaching them how to do the same thing. Yeah. And I just feel really blessed that I never knew back then when I was in so much pain that I'd be doing this now, being able to speak and not be suppressed by other people, because that's my biggest thing, is not letting this power dynamic for me was really big, about boundaries and learning to just speak up and say what I really needed to, despite the judgments and opinions. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've had to learn and activate more of my gifts, not just my healing abilities, but being able to speak, being able to channel, activating my shamanic abilities and working with the land. So all of that helped me to develop. And now my relationship with my son is amazing. He's 22 and now I taught him all his healing abilities. He rejected it there for a really long time, but now he's on track and rings me up and wants to know more. And so I feel really excited about my future. And if I'd stayed in pathology hesitated, I'd just be looking out the window and just wishing it away. And it took courage to take those steps.
And that's what we talk about.
Even like leaving biomedical science to take that leap and keeping my biology books on the shelf, thinking, can I let that go? Can I let that go? And even when I've finished naturopathy and herbal medicine and nutrition, that was the first thing, and healing was behind me. But now it's like I'm the healer in naturopathy. I support the physical symptoms that us sensitives and healers have, some physical thing. And that's why we are propelled forward to find our path, because our health often is triggered or affected in some way. And that is the pathway. We're searching for solutions, some outcome to improve ourselves. And that's what opens us up, because we go through this crisis. It's an initiation. There's a reason behind it. It's not just for suffering. We're meant to go through that eye of the needle despite the storm. And in that, we face our demons, we face the darkness. And I didn't think I was courageous, but all I needed to do was just take that next step. And even though it felt like it was suffering for like decades, here I am. But I didn't become this without all of that shaping me and molding me and scraping me.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk because 2 parts of my brain. There are people that take the law of attraction and they say, as you know, I had a hand surgery last year, right? Or was it this year? It was almost a year ago, right? I had a hand surgery last year. And initially it was, oh my God, look, something is seriously wrong with me, that I drew in another injury to me. So that's like that metaphysical mind fuck. And what I heard you say is, no, there's an exquisite design that you get to go through the challenging physical things so talk about it, because I think there's a lot of people that like, I hurt myself again, or I don't want to. It's not fair, poor me. Like they fight what is. And so how do you help people find the gifts and not think they did something wrong? Because that's easy to get into the like, oh, what did I do wrong? I know I did. I was a mess. Like it happened again. I got hurt another year later, right? And so, because I agree with you. On the other side of this, I'm like, woo, big lessons. So how do you help people navigate when there are physical things to not mess themselves up and miss the opportunity? The way you made that sound, it sounds like juicy and yummy, but nobody's signing up for that in the beginning, right? So how do you help people through that?
I think there's a lot of dialogue out there that you have attracted it, and then you go into, what have I done wrong?
Exactly.
I must be stupid, but,
yes, I'm sabotaging.
I think there's a lot of books around there, or I don't know, I think there's a collective understanding, but that's also like the part of the awakening journey when you're first starting. This is what you think. What's wrong with me? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
It's a victim consciousness. You're powerless to the world, being against you.
And I used to think
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that. But I've realized, especially when I went back to Chile and South America and connected to my roots, and my shamanic abilities started to develop a lot more, that we are meant to grow and we're meant to face our difficulties, because that's where our gifts lie. So it's not like this bad things happen now you're worse off for it. There's always something magnificent at the end of it. Like there's gold at the end, because you have to go into the pain breaks you up. The pain exposes something. Without that pain, you would just go, life is nice, people having great life. But for us as healers, intuitive, sensitives, we've chosen this path that can look a little bit more difficult, because we are activating more of our abilities. So the blessing is there's more in us, and there's always more. There's a next level of expansion to receive more, because when there's something we've hidden, especially from past lives, that we've kept that safe, that the pain or the hurt or something is cracking something deeper open, so that can rise up. Without that pain, energetic pain, the pain body just keeps everything closed in and wrapped and secure. The pain, that aggravation, catalyzes something open, so then it can surface.
Yes. I don't think I've ever had anybody that's talked about it this way. And that's the thing, because there's pain happening, but what makes it worse is the resistance and the judgment of it. That's when suffering. So you got pain going, but suffering happens because of the story. I know for me, when I had my hand issue, it was, I suffered because of my story about the hand. And when I got past the story, then I was like, okay, bring it on. But I love this distinction that the pain cracks you open, so that the next layer of healing or purposefulness, we could just end right here because it's so freaking good, but I want to keep going.
I think the biggest thing when you are in some level of pain, whether it's emotional, financial, or physical, we disconnect, and that's where it's prolonged. So we disconnect from the divine channel, we disconnect from the earth channel, and that's when we'll go into, it's too hard, I can't do it. So even when I've had a cold or something, or I've hurt my back or my arm, I had to remember I've got to plug myself back in. I've got to come back. Otherwise we shatter and leave, and it takes forever. That's where people I've had this for, decades, or that's the prolonging. I don't want to face it. It's too hard, or someone save me. So that's the disempowered state. You're wishing someone else would come and fix you.
Old buddy's coming. But tell
reconnect.
Me, say reconnect. That, because let's make that concrete. When you say reconnect, walk me through what that is for you. How do you, like, if I'm your client and you go reconnect, Therese, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're going to show me now how to reconnect. Can you do that?
But yeah, sure, of course.
Okay,
The breath brings in the healing. So imagine, or just have the intention that you're breathing down from the divine channel, from your angelic channel, from the ancestors. You are always receiving from them in the present. So just even imagine being plugged up into this God socket or divine socket so that you can receive. And then we need to breathe up from Mother Earth, from the land. So imagine plugging yourself into, like there's a socket in the earth so that you are connected in this shaft of light. And then you breathe in both directions. You connect to that angelic shamanic frequency, and that keeps you solid. That is what will help you progress and heal, because then the guidance is coming in, the healing's coming in, the next step will come in. But when we're wanting to escape, we go into the future, we miss the information that's coming in right now.
And I especially love the groundedness, because most of us, when we're there, we're like in fight or flight. We're in our heads. And I love the grounding, connect to the earth, remember, right? Like that pulse, the heartbeat of life. I love that. All right, let's talk about courage, because, well, let me back up. There's so much to say. We need to have 3 hours with you. I don't know. This is a 30-minute thing is going to be way too short. There's so many things in your story, and we've talked about this, so I know lots of chunks of the story. Just the epigenetic piece. Father had to leave because of Mussolini. Then we had to leave because of the war and the unrest. Talk about the epigenetics. Talk about how that like, was there a moment when you were like, oh, that's why I'm afraid of people, or oh, that's why, like how, because I'm so aware, as are you, that the carried energies, the carried traumas of our ancestors or families, it's a fuck ton, right? if we don't, like, there's our own stuff, there's our own physiology, our own experiences. And those are two very huge things for somebody to have to live through, escaping to another country because of war and unrest. So talk about, like, how did that show up, and how did you, like, go, oh, hark, that's it, and then how'd you clear it?
I think I'm still clearing it, because it goes back 12 generations. It's not, I don't know what happened back then, but you know there's been studies and research that our genes are 12, we've inherited over and over and over. So I'm conscious of the last 2 generations that I've been clearing, but I'll take it back further than that, so that me understanding about this power struggle, me being scared of my father. He was scared of authority from Allende in Chile, and then Mussolini, because they took everything. They took all their assets. They took their ring. My grandfather, my grandmother had their wedding bands taken away. Wow. So they could melt that. For me, money was a big prosperity, leaking of money. People take that away. So I think that was a big impact on my base chakra, my connection to the earth. Somebody's always going to come take something away. So my nervous system, I was always an anxious child. So there was always something bad coming. And I had that ingrained in me, conditioned with my dad, don't trust anybody, don't trust anybody. So for me to be more positive now, the damage in my brain, expecting the worst.
Yes, you had to rewire, like, right?
Totally.
But how does somebody know? I mean, you do this work, but what if somebody that isn't you and I, and can see and know and tap in with our intuition and stuff? How does somebody start to go, wow, maybe I'm carrying something maybe there's, maybe this physical thing means something, or maybe my anxiety, or maybe, like, how does somebody start to put the pieces together?
What I feel is when people come, it is a layered approach, because there's so much to go on, and you can't just go, right, I want to clear this. That could just bring up more aggravation. So it's just understanding that I just work on the next layer, so that the process doesn't be reactive and aggressive, and it's just a nice, smooth transition.
Right. We don't jackhammer people in,
I think if it's out of their awareness, they don't know, just come back to the breath, and we're just asking. I just ask, I want to clear mum's side of the family. I just want to go back and take the breath back to how many generations back to her side, her grandmother. So I clear the grandmother's side on that lineage.
Yeah.
So I use the breath, I bring in the light, I cut the cords, the negative cords to those grandmothers and what they've been carrying, and then I take it to the father's side and clear that. So you don't have to know what their story was. I just asked to cut the negative cords that I'm still carrying from those ancestors. Beautiful. So that way I'm not bound to their struggle or their sacrifices or their lack of support. And that works. It works time and time again, just doing that really simple process every day. Just imagine scissors or a sword or just even that action. Yeah. I just cut it off from the back, because our back is the past. So that simple technique would be great for anyone to try, with that intention that when you're connected to your guides, they do the work. You just direct them, do this, do this.
That is so magnificent. So the last thing is, Mariangela, what I heard was there was the you, this is like identity, right? There was the you that was, I'm the good girl, I'm compliant, I do. And then the thing was bubbling. And then you're one day like, no, I'm following my path. So if somebody is seeing themselves in your story, how do we get them to say, you get to take a step away? Like what, give some techniques or tips, like how can they start stopping the voice of compliance or being the good girl or being afraid to follow the dream? Because that's what this show is about, right? You knew when you were 16 and then you detoured for a while and then it came back. So what would you say to somebody that's right there? And let's save them 10 years or 5 years. Like let's save them. So what would you, I don't mean saving, but like let's expedite it. Yes. Yeah.
I had the judgment I wasn't supported. I didn't feel that anyone was around me to help me. I had no family to go to. I was sensitive. So I think in that state, you feel like there's nobody to go to, but you have the power. It's inside. The time I've realized that if I don't take the step, my arm will hurt, will aggravate. Or I saw my mother have breast cancer and die because she didn't speak up. So for me, I know if I don't take the step, it could be life-threatening for me. So I've seen evidence of that with so many clients as well. If they prolong it, if they don't take action, it gets worse. It just gets deeper. Like the guides will say, you don't want to do this? We'll keep nudging you until you do. So I'm not saying that from a place of fear or don't do it, but you've got to do it. Like you have to do it. There's no other choice but going forward. There's no back door. And in that free fall, you are caught. You are supported. You just don't land flat. In that, I keep doing it and not knowing what I'm going to fall into, and I land. It's like the parachute turns up. I don't know. My conscious mind does not know how it's going to do that, but it happens. It just.
Can we talk about your Facebook adventures? Because that's a perfect example. Current day, a month ago or whatever,
Yes.
Like, so this is an example. I want to give you real world how Mariangela rolls with this stuff. So tell the story and then and how you processed it and where it is now.
So I've been on Facebook for 10 years. I'd built my following. I had 7,000 on my business page. I built a community of 1,000 people in my group. I was doing really well, especially this year. And I got hacked and badly. Took my credit card. I couldn't get back in. And, Facebook was really difficult. So I grieved. I was angry. I was anxious. I was hoping. Every day I'd go back on, is it fixed? Is it fixed? And nothing was fixed. And I was crying, and I went through the dark night of the soul.
So what you have to understand, this was how she was getting clients. Her Facebook lives, her whole business, not maybe whole, but a lot of your marketing was. So imagine one day, poof, gone. And you know how delightful Facebook is to work with in their customer service. They were like, so it was like, you're screwed. Sorry, you're closed out. So you're in the dark night, you're feeling it all. And then what happened?
Yeah. I saw it as my castle. I can't get into my castle.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
hello,
Hello.
where's the key?
I'm the queen. Come on, let me in. Right.
And even in meditation, I saw that I was in the moat, I was in the river, I was drowning, my head was up, but I got to the other side.
God.
And the vision I got was I'm still going to create something new. I don't know what that looks like. It looked like a beautiful Arabic, beautiful temples and mosques, and it looked colourful.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that's the vision. I don't know how that's going to happen. I retreated, I had space. I realised how much people were responding to me on the socials, and in some respects I was a bit addicted to it, always checking in and taking up my time. And then I just questioned, what was that for? Was it useful? Did it benefit me in any way? I know that it did, because it helped to improve my message, get better on camera. I was terrible on camera. I was scared of everything. It's really helped, the fact that I can speak online. It really helped to shape me.
Yes.
And now I came to a place of acceptance and peace, and how much better I felt not being on it and having that month or 6 weeks off. And I'm going to be opening up a TikTok account, and I never thought I'd do that.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
But I went back on Instagram and just did a 1 minute video, and the response was fabulous. And I've had great comments saying, so great to have you back. You know, we really missed your voice and how you bring light to us, and you seem so much better and stronger. And so I didn't know what it would look like, and I thought it would decimate my business. And people are still finding a way to contact me. You know, people are still coming, they're still ringing me up. So despite that, and that my focus, I went through it. I went through the suffering. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that and say
you were, right.
Yeah, I was a mess, but I reached out. I reached out to people.
You did. And the usefulness is there was some blessing in that it allowed you to shift your messaging and kind of let go of some of the old energies, the old messages, the old teaching, the old clients used to work. Like I feel like it helped you go, wait, no, I didn't want that anyway. New me, right?
Yes. I didn't know how to change what I was doing on there, and I would never have left of my own choice. But it felt like at the same time it was a bit of a prison. So
of course. Yes,
this black castle has now disappeared, and I've got this beautiful, colourful other Arabic-looking one.
Here we go.
It looked, I suppose, it showed me it was a bit linear, and this is a bit more feminine. So I'm definitely going with following my intuition and focusing where I'm at this new level. So I was broken, something emerged, my new voice, my new clarity, who I'm really here to serve now and support, because I've always been evolving. And I think that's the biggest thing. You can't just stick to one thing. I shift, I change, and I'm always supported in the next evolution. I know if I don't move, it gets stagnant. I feel tired. I lose, or people start to drop away. So it's an indicator, okay, this is the next part of the journey, or the next branch that I'm expanding into. So I can see that I need to keep growing, because there's more in me. I didn't know I'd be writing a book. I didn't know that was in me. I didn't know I'd be able to share this and help maybe other people that are struggling with their own expression or boundaries, or, you know, their own acceptance of their power. So I'm really, you know, I'd never thought I'd be a writer. So here I am.
Or a
mid-50s,
speaker.
or a speaker
Yeah.
on Therese's program.
Well, you know, that's, I love the current story, because we all can relate to, oh, good God, if I lost my Facebook, I would die. Like everybody's so, and so I love that we talked about this, because you modeled, because your story is go into the free fall, don't fight it, mine it, like feel all the feelings. Like you didn't spiritually bypass and go, okay, it's in the Lord's will. Like you didn't do that. You felt you were terrified. I mean, I reached out and I'm like, holy shit, woman. And that's when we reconnected around the, like, I said, I think you've got some trauma. And you're like, yes, this has triggered a bunch of trauma. And it was, right? We talked and we released some of the trauma. So you demonstrated how to not be afraid of whatever's in front of you. Right. And the like, and good things are coming. Next level you is coming, the new iteration. And you didn't plan that consciously. You just followed it. Oh, okay. TikTok. Who would have thought, right? And you're going to be a freaking star on TikTok. Oh my God, girl. Oh, you're in a rocket. Okay. Where can people, maybe not TikTok yet, or whenever you get your account set up, but where can people follow you and find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram at the moment, but I will be launching my book shortly, so you can look out for that, The Mystic Woman's Compass. But I do want to support other people in that transition where they feel like, I don't know what my next step is. I'm helping them, guide them to the next bit of their evolution, so that they're at a whole new level of receiving and support and new possibilities of just expanding and feeling brilliant and seeing people and just making a difference. I think that's the thing. I'm always
and you're a beautiful demonstration of that. That's why we chronicled the story, right? From scared, compliant girl to this one. Look at her. She's freaking radiating. All right. So all Mariangela's contact information is going to be in the show notes. And it has been a joy, darling, to be with you. I've loved having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And I want to tell you, if you're listening, think about, who do I know that needs to hear this? Who do I know that is maybe in that dark night, maybe in that free fall, maybe going, what the hell, did I do something wrong? Like, who do I know that if they could hear these words today, they would get some calm, they would get an understanding, they would get context, right? Because a lot of this was context, like, oh, that's what's happening. That's why it's happening. Who do I know that might have some stuff from their families or their histories or their whatever is holding them back? Like, so send this episode to 2 people and enjoy. Have a blessed week. Thanks so much. Bye.
Hey, this is Therese, and I'm so excited that you were with us today for another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. You know, if you are inspired to get to that brilliant place, if you heard some wisdom today that made you think, yeah, I need some help in that area, I would encourage you to have a conversation with me. Super simple. You just go to thereseskelly.com/let's connect. It's a no charge, no pressure conversation. And if I can support you to clear the blocks, to really step into that brilliance, oh my gosh, it would be a delight. And I'll be honest with you, we'll just have a great conversation and see where we can take it. Peace and blessings. Bye.